Tonight, a Silverton animal icon recovering after being shot with an arrow. And South Australia's annual operation targeting arsonists officially launched.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. The owners of a pet emu shot with an arrow at Silverton say they're devastated somebody attacked the local icon. Toto is recovering from his injuries, while the community tries to understand why the protected animal was targeted. And we warn some viewers may find this story confronting.
To Peter and Duncan, Toto the emu is a special member of their animal family, making it all the more difficult when they discovered the big bird was lucky to be alive.
He doesn't mind a big cuddle and a pat, and just happened to find a big lump on him, and I'm like, oh, what's this? And pulled his feathers apart a little bit and found an arrow in him.
Leaving behind a gaping hole, they believe thick feathers and skin are the reason Toto suffered just minor injuries.
The wound's healed quite well. He's been a little off. Hasn't been his usual chirpy self.
Toto is allowed to roam around town, and it's not known whether he was shot on private property or around the village. Hunting at Silverton and 4 emus, both illegal.
It's very disappointing, to say the least, but people wandering around here in tourist season with bows and arrows is a hazard to the community on a whole.
Toto enjoying some extra cuddles, with the community supporting his recovery.
I'm not saying everyone has to love animals, but to either come on our property or to see an emu out here and just happen to have a bow and arrow on them, I think it's pretty disgusting.
The incident has been reported to police, who ask anyone with information to come forward. Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
With bushfire danger season commencing across South Australia today, our region is being warned to avoid lighting fires and putting lives at risk. Police launching their annual operation, focusing on arsonists within the community.
Stopping firebugs in our region. With fire danger season upon us, police will ramp up their presence across South Australia.
And this operation will be targeting those that are negligent, deliberate and reckless.
Operation Nomad, focusing on civilian acts that may cause a major blaze.
Operation Nomad is a combined effort through SAPOL, so the South Australian Police, the Country Fire Service, where SAPOL on high-risk days will put a higher presence out into the community.
Patrols will be deployed on total fire ban days throughout the season, focusing on risky and deliberate fire use. They say known arsonists within our community are on their watch list.
This year we have 88 persons of interest.
Police say 46 fires were deliberately lit last year, with 11 arrests made. 61 were deemed suspicious. It is hoped that these patrols not only deter, but act as a source of education to reduce bushfire risk.
We know that people that deliberately light bushfires are absolute scumbags. They are scumbags, and if they're caught lighting bushfires, then they will be put in jail.
And if you know about somebody who's committed an offence, you can report that anonymously to Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Despite yesterday's rush on testing, no new COVID cases were recorded in the Far West to 8 p.m. last night. As of mid-afternoon, full genomic sequencing on a man who'd recently arrived in Broken Hill from southern Africa was still being completed. But New South Wales Health continues to believe he isn't infected with the Omicron environment. However, another person on board the same flight from Doha to Sydney does have the new strain and is isolating at their home in Sydney. SA Health has revealed that there are now 69 cases in South Australia directly linked to the consumption of Coffin Bay oysters. 3 people have also been hospitalised as a result. An additional 13 people have caught the infection since eating the oysters in September. SA Health are continuing to monitor the situation and encourage people to throw away or return oysters if purchased from Coffin Bay. Calls are growing for the Pine Creek Bridge near Laura to receive an urgent upgrade so it can safely support the weight of trucks. The member for Frome and local mayor want the state government to help foot the bill.
This bridge has connected the Mid-North for more than 70 years, but some say it's time for a renovation.
It carries a lot of traffic on there, grain traffic, school buses and things like that.
The Pine Creek Bridge on the Laura to Apler Road only has a 30-tonne weight limit, which means heavy freight has to take a near 10-kilometre diversion on unsealed roads.
The detour that involves travelling on about 8 or 9 k's of dirt road and to get that freight down to Gladstone's not really sustainable.
In a statement from the Department of Infrastructure and Transport, a spokesperson said they discussed the issue with the council earlier this year and understands various options are being considered. Also adding, there are a number of funding programs which the council can apply to.
It's probably about a $9 million budget for that bridge. $5 million that can come from the federal government, and then I'm sure the councils will contribute a little bit to it.
Mayor Ben Brown will again apply for state and federal funding, and he won't stop fighting until this bridge is fixed. Council hoping large vehicles travelling in the region will soon be able to cross. Christian Komenos, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, the return of rail transport to the Eyre Peninsula, the focus of a forum in Port Lincoln. And Wyler's Foreshore Cafe ready to launch. Welcome back. A push to reopen rail on the Eyre Peninsula is gaining traction amongst locals. The South Australian Transport Action Group holding an information session in Port Lincoln, urging the community to fight for improved transport routes.
Locals of Port Lincoln calling for rail to be back on tracks. The South Australian Transport Action Group saying now is the time to connect the region to major cities.
I think if you had a rail system, there's much more scope, particularly for people, but for families, all sorts of people. And for people from here wanting to go to Adelaide or somewhere like that. There is scope there.
It's been almost 3 years since the shutdown of rail on the Eyre Peninsula. The community now frustrated with the added pressure put back on roads.
I've always thought that transport is an essential service, that we try and save lives on roads, and therefore we need to get trucks off roads.
In a statement, Viterra says they spent a lot of time exploring options for keeping the rail network open. However, the poor conditions of infrastructure, the restrictions placed on operations and the running cost meant it was no longer an effective way to transport. Some ready to make the issue part of their election platform.
I just think just open it up. If we make it standard gauge, like open it up to the rest of Australia.
However, not everyone is for the rail.
Rail became uncompetitive financially, and that burden of transport cost has now gone onto the road network. We need to make sure there's appropriate investment back into the roads.
The community optimistic this isn't the end of the line. Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
After months in the making, Wyler's Foreshore Cafe will reopen to the public this weekend, just in time for the summer holidays. Food truck vendor Smoky Uppercuts won the tender to run the popular eatery in July.
The finishing touches are being put into place ahead of its big relaunch. A popular foreshore eatery getting ready to reopen this weekend, 1 year since it was shut down.
Things are starting to come together really, really well now, and we're really looking forward to Saturday to unleashing it onto the public.
In July, the Wyler City Council awarded the tender to operate the Foreshore Cafe to local food truck Smoky Uppercuts. While known for their American-style smoked barbecue meals, the cafe will offer staples such as sandwiches, coffee and cakes.
All of our classic and everyone's favourites from our food truck are going to be on the menu, but we're going to also bring the classic cafe-style food along with it.
Council has provided support to Smoky Uppercuts to ensure the business is able to operate and launch by the weekend. Extensive upgrades were made to the cafe building, bringing it up to standard.
I believe that Council has been taking out all stops to try and deliver a good service to the community through this facility.
Once launched, it'll be open for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Mark Zita, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Crazy Sock Day is just 1 week away from sweeping across Broken Hill, with the local student behind the fundraiser calling for locals to get involved. The event not only adding a splash of colour to the community, also helping support cancer research.
Next Friday, funky socks will be on feet and those touched by cancer in our thoughts. Broken Hill told to come together and help raise funds to stomp out the disease.
We are really hoping for all schools and all businesses to be wearing crazy socks.
All locals encouraged to make a donation through Abby's Crazy Sock fundraiser or purchase merchandise, with all proceeds going to Love Your Sister.
Love Your Sister is a charity that raises money for every single type of cancer research.
A charity started by Samuel Johnson as his sister Connie fought breast cancer, the actor and Abby forming a special bond.
The day we met was the day that Crazy Sock Day was born. I'm not there in person, but not there in person, there in spirit.
Abby has already sold around $4,000 in merchandise, with the fundraising total closing in on $3,000 at lunchtime today. With 10 local schools and 50 businesses already involved, it's up to the rest of the community to pull up its socks and join fundraising efforts.
We are hoping for everyone in Broken Hill to be on board for Crazy Sock Day.
Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us. The best wool in the region goes under the microscope in Port Augusta. And a local community foundation appoints a new board member. Ahead of the SA Arid Lands Pastoral Field Days, experts have visited the region to judge Port Augusta's annual fleece competition. The judges assessing the entrance product on the heaviness, cleanliness and crimpiness of the wool.
These judges are not having the wool pulled over their eyes. The best of the region on display at Port Augusta's annual fleece competition.
Majority of these fleeces come from the Flinders, they come from the northwest, some from mid-north.
Agribusiness experts from Elders and Nutrien unloading, categorising and inspecting the wool.
The fleeces that you see behind us, we're just going through the process of weighing them. That's the first step. When we've weighed them, we'll then go through in each section that we've categorised the fleeces into, and we judge them based on their merits.
While not ramming home the point, judges say they assess the fleeces on their visual characteristics, looking for the same signs of quality potential exporters want.
It's got to be done without any kind of bias. So we number the fleeces so we don't know who they are.
The competition also raising valuable money for local charities.
All of the fleeces are donated, we sell the wool, and then we donate that money back to a couple of different charities.
Producers excited to donate to the School of the Air and the Royal Flying Doctor Service.
It's also good to see everyone display their produce, everyone to have a look. You know, it's good for owners to have a look at what other people are doing.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Spencer Golf residents are encouraged to go fishing this holiday season to help with well-being and mental health. It's part of a campaign called Let's Fish SA, promoted by the Recreational Fishing Advisory Council and the Australian Fishing Trade Association. New videos have been produced to encourage people to head to their favourite spot.
Let's fish South Australia, so I can tell my friends how good it is to spend time together.
State government figures reveal more than 277,000 people fish recreationally in South Australia. Meanwhile, local anglers are being warned to be on the lookout for an invasive species of crab. An Asian paddle crab was discovered at Port Adelaide last week, the fourth detection since 2019. It threatens blue swimmer populations and can also potentially spread diseases to local seafood. Anyone who catches one is urged not to return it to water and report it to Fishwatch. A while, a local has been named as a new board member for the Eyre Peninsula Community Foundation. Men's Shed President Brian Cope was appointed to the role as the foundation looks to expand northwards.
Serving the community across the Eyre Peninsula in a new capacity. Whyalla Men's Shed President Brian Cope now taking on the role as a board member for the Eyre Peninsula Community Foundation.
It gives Whyalla organisations more of an opportunity to be involved, and the organisation wants to cover the full Eyre Peninsula.
The foundation keen to set up a contact point for the Upper Spencer Gulf and expand out of Port Lincoln. Mr. Cope happy to assist local community organisations and liaise with the foundation.
When the EPCF came to the men's shed to give us our grant, I just offered to be of assistance if they needed something done in Whyalla.
In a statement, Foundation Chair Gary Downey says the appointment further supports them, saying they're looking for a diversity of skills. Whyalla organisations are encouraged to contact Mr. Cope if they require the Foundation's assistance.
The grant was given to the Road Safety Centre, and it's organisations like that that are community-based and do things for the community themselves.
Mr. Cope will remain at his existing role in the men's shed. Mark Zeta, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. We will check the region's fuel prices and we'll have the weather details with Alex Sykes. Hello again. Our region has dodged the petrol price hike trend yet again, with local prices dropping almost right across the board. Only one area and one fuel type has seen a shift in the wrong direction. Lachlan Nitter has the details in Fuel Watch.
Straight off the bat, I'm going to single out Port Pirie as the only area that's seen any price increase, but there's plenty of positive news to come from this week's figures. Starting as always with unleaded, where it's a rare sight, green arrows from top to bottom. The big winner this week is Port Augusta. After seeing the only increase last week, drivers have been rewarded with the largest drop this time, around 3 cents. It brings prices there a little closer to the rest of the pack. You're looking at $1.66 a litre. On the whole, it is the Eyre Peninsula that has seen the largest price drops. Port Lincoln is all the way down to $1.60, Whyalla $1.64. The York Peninsula has seen a smaller shift in prices, but still among the cheapest in our region, $1.62 in Port Pirie and closing in on $1.63 in Kadina. Here in Broken Hill, we were closing in on $1.80 a couple of weeks ago. How does $1.71 sound now? Expect to pay $1.66 a litre in Adelaide. Over to diesel, where it's a mixed bag. As forewarned, this is the only red arrow for our region this week. Port Pirie up by 1.5 cents to $1.60 a litre. That's still equal cheapest with Port Lincoln. Drops of around 0.5 cent in Whyalla and Port Augusta, $1.66 and $1.64 a litre respectively. So they are still at the higher end of things. Broken Hill also down by that amount, paying $1.69. Kadina unchanged and sitting just under $1.59 a litre. Finally to Autogas, where there's not a whole lot to say. No changes in our region. Port Lincoln and Broken Hill still considerably cheaper, around that $1.10 mark, all the way up to $1.21 in Port Augusta and Kadina. Prices in Adelaide have dropped ever so slightly. Now remember that these prices are the regional averages and do not reflect any one particular outlet. And if you do spot unleaded diesel or Autogas cheaper, be sure to let us know on our Facebook page.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather in our region as we move closer to the weekend. With all the details, here's Alex Sykes.
Thanks, John, and happy hump day, everyone. The sun was shining across our region today, and these fine conditions are set to continue through to Sunday, when a few showers will sneak into a couple of areas. I'll have details soon. First, let's take a close look at today. From 3 p.m, Port Augusta was 28, Port Lincoln was 21, and Broken Hill was 34. Looking further out across the region now, Whyalla was sunny and 24, Port Pirie sunny and 28, Adelaide also sunny and 28, Woodner mostly sunny and 30, Kadina and Cleve 24 degrees, Clare mostly sunny 31, Cooper Pedy was sunny and 38 degrees. Taking a look at the satellite image now. Mainly high cloud over central and eastern parts of South Australia with a weak trough is not bringing any rain. Clear skies elsewhere under a weak high ridge of high pressure and a dry air mass. A short time ago, marine wind warning was current for South Australia. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. South to southwesterly swell 15 to 20 knots, seas around 1 metre, and south to southwesterly swell below 1 metre. Partly cloudy in the Eyre Peninsula tomorrow. Port Lincoln will get to 21, Cleve 23, Woodner to reach a high of 29 degrees. It will be 24 in Whyalla, Port Augusta mostly sunny and 29, Kadina partly cloudy and is set to reach a high of 25 degrees. Port Pirie and Clare will both reach 27 and Broken Hill will get to a high of 38 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, possible shower in Whyalla on Friday, partly cloudy and 27 degrees in Woodner and Port Pirie. Cooper Pedy will get to a high of 41, sunny in Broken Hill and 33 degrees. A look at the start of the weekend now, Port Lincoln will be partly cloudy and 20 degrees. Port Pirie and Broken Hill both set to reach a high of 29, mostly sunny in Port Augusta with 27. Cooper Pedy will have a shower or two on Sunday, Port Augusta and Woodner to reach 30 degrees and mostly sunny in Kadina with a max of 28. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. I'll see you a little later with an update. It's back to you, John.
Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Wednesday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later, and we will return tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Until then, on behalf of the team, enjoy your evening. Good night.